point we have completed our sanding preparations, and now we can finally begin to tape over all parts that we will be priming. And this part I will just skip, so you don't waste your time at this work. So, and taping is finally over. As you can see, the most parts are finally covered up with some film, and now we can finally do the next step of putting a new layer of epoxy primer, so car won't rust so much and so fast. So let's begin. Here is another day, and our anti-corrosion epoxy primer is finally dried up, and now we can finally begin to fix our defects which was made from years of rust. And as you can see, those are those little holes and other things that you can see. And there's actually not much to do with that. We have some putty that will just cover it up, and it should be fine. It will smooth the surface, and it will be almost ready for priming with your usual primer, which goes under paint coating. So without much more words, let's begin. So far defects are fixing a little by little. Almost every place is fixed, but somewhere still small holes are left, which we'll fix by putting one more layer of putty. And I hope that after this it should be fine. As you can see, and then here are almost fixed. Here, the place where a little bit more orange, there are still small holes left. This bottom part is almost the same, almost fixed, but here still somewhere it asks for second layer of putty. So I'm gonna fix it, and after that we will begin a next phase of fixing. At this moment I forget to tell you about one additional coating that we should put on the car, at least floor and the rocker panel and arches. It's a kind of rubbery coating, if spoken in simple words, and it's used to improvise a factory coating which was earlier sprayed on the car from the factory, which it's almost on every car. On rocker panels you can see it by some uneven orange-like texture on it, and it feels like rubber because it's kind of soft, and you can scratch it even with fingers or nails. And without it, these places under the car where the most amount of dirt and rocks are flying into while driving, it will rust pretty easy. And with this coating we are trying to solve this issue at least a little bit. There are different types of this coating, but it usually looks similarly, and this exact one, it's more like of maybe you have heard Cobra or Raptor, and it's analog of that. And at this moment I've made body panels ready for this coating, and we will put it right on. So the first layer is done. Let's continue on another side. And now it needs a little bit of time to dry in, so this material, this coating, will catch together with our metal which is underneath, or primer, or anything that you are using. And after about 5-10 minutes we will continue with the second layer.
A few moments later.
So at this point this part is ended. Next step will be getting it ready for priming. We will remove all those covers, but this job we will do tomorrow because this coating has to dry really well, which takes at least night. It should stay in a warm room. Yeah. So see you tomorrow.